Hey, what's going on, guys? So, I'm getting a lot of questions from people who are interested in intermittent fasting, and I know that it's becoming more and more popular right now, and there's a lot of you out there who want to try it. So, I just want to add some potential concerns that you need to think about before you go into it. First of all, I want to say that I like intermittent fasting. I've done it quite a while. I've been eating 1 to 2 meals a day for a few years now, and it's worked quite well for me. But you have to remember that it's not a diet. Intermittent fasting is a protocol, it's a method of eating. So when you talk about intermittent fasting and you combine it with different types of diets, then you can be a vegan and be an intermittent faster. You can be a ketogenic person and be an intermittent faster. You can be a paleo person and do intermittent fasting. Really has nothing to do with the type of diet you're on. Um, what it is where you're eating in a specific window of time and you're avoiding eating for a specific window of time. And people have different protocols that they follow. I personally, I will work out in the morning and then I won't eat until after 11, 12, sometimes after 1 or 2 p.m. And I'll usually have like a small snack then and I'll have a bigger meal later on in the day. Now, who should be intermittent fasting and who shouldn't be? And again, that question really depends, right? If it could be really good for you, or it could be the worst thing that ever happened to you, and that really depends on your own physiology. It depends on what's going on with your hormones, what's going on with your blood, with how much stress you have in your life. So, a few things I would really get checked out. One, your thyroid. Um, in particular, women uh, have can potentially have a lot of problems with intermittent fasting, and it's because women have a tendency to get hypothyroidism. That's when their production of thyroid hormone slows down, and that can really interrupt their fat loss. It could also interrupt a lot of other bodily processes that are very important. So for a lot of you girls out there, you ladies, I'm sorry, I don't mean to call you girls, but you know, you really need to consider what your blood works like. You really need to think about this whole situation before you try intermittent fasting. And I really wouldn't try it, or if you're a trainer out there who has female clients, I really wouldn't put a woman on this protocol to start with. And if you are thinking about doing it for some reason, then I really would get her blood looked at. For the rest of you out there, all you gentlemen as well as ladies in these types of situations, I would also take a look at your adrenal glands. How are your adrenal glands performing? Are you under a lot of stress? Have you had your blood tested? And you really need to figure that out also, because if your adrenals are malfunctioning and they're not working anymore, you could really put yourself in a really bad state and do even more damage to your body if you're intermittent fasting. On top of that, if I was a younger person, maybe in my teenage years or still growing, again, intermittent fasting might not be the best protocol for you. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't do it at all, but it might not be the best protocol for you. And particularly if you're like a high school athlete or a college athlete, somebody doing tons and tons of work, then again, it might not be the best for you. I'm somebody who is honestly in my office most of the day doing stuff. I move around, I try and go on walks, I try and do kettlebell swings every time I get up, but still I am sedentary for most of my days. So intermittent fasting might work better for me. On top of that, my genetics. A lot of the people in my family have high blood sugar. I'm prone to diabetes genetically. So those of us who are prone to diabetes, those of us who you know have some extra tanks of fuel lining in our bloodstreams because we're prone to diabetes, those of us who have that genetic predisposition might have intermittent fasting work better for us. But the biggest piece of advice to take from this video is that not one thing is going to work for everyone. There is no overarching diet protocol that everybody should do. It really adds up to who you are, what your life is like, um, what your genetics are like, what your epigenetics are like, what your environment is like, what's going on. And so there's so many different things that can come into this. And so, if you're a trainer out there, if you're somebody who's advising people on their fitness, don't just give them these cookie cutter templates that you think are going to work for everyone because they work for you. Um, really look into their situation and really research what could benefit them. And then we'll have a much better fitness industry, and a lot more people reaching their goals and being happy about it and not doing damage to themselves. All right. Talk to you soon.